If Michael Jackson is convicted on any of the most serious charges, it's expected that bail would be revoked and Jackson would be taken into custody immediately. Former Santa Barbara County Sheriff Jim Thomas gave me a tour of the grounds, an exclusive tour, where they're already preparing for the possibility of a high-profile inmate. It looks like the view you might see at a four-star hotel, California's scenic Central Valley. But when you realize where it is, it's hardly four-star and hardly a hotel. This is the Santa Barbara County Jail, where Michael Jackson would likely be transported if convicted on any of the most serious charges.
He'll come probably by himself in a vehicle with the detectives. He'll come around this road, around to the back, and he'll go into the back of the facility and be booked exactly where he was when he was originally charged.
Jim Thomas, who was the sheriff here for 12 years, says Jackson would be here within an hour and a half of a conviction.
You're brought in, you do the paperwork that's necessary, you get a medical evaluation. Again, they inventory your property, you sign for that, they place you in jail clothing, and then they make a determination.
He'd have to wear a particular uniform? What would it look like?
Absolutely. He would probably wear a two-piece, which is a pair of pants and something like a sweatshirt.
No armband, huh?
No armband. And I can assure you there'd be no deputy sheriff carrying his umbrella.
Yeah. That would happen immediately, as soon as he gets here?
Yeah, that would be the first thing, is that they would place him in custody so he could get into his cell and get used to it. So they would take the time to go through all the process, put him in jail clothing, take him to where he's going to be, explain to him what the rules are, what his routine will be when he gets up, when he goes to bed. They feed him in the cells. And
what would generally be the rules in terms of hours, etc.?
Well, normally they're up at 5. They go to bed at 9. If you're going to be transported, if you're not going to be transported, you can sleep a little longer. Most of them have television available, as well as telephones available, not for incoming calls, but they can make outgoing collect calls. So he'll have the ability to have access to people outside of the jail facility. Visitation is fairly liberal.
So after he's booked, this is the facility where Jackson will be brought?
Yeah, Dan, it's my understanding that they have a cell here ready for him.
Really? They're already prepared?
That they're prepared. That would have a full 24-hour camera, so they can watch him 24 hours a day, because they'd be worried about his mental health.
When you say Jackson would be on suicide watch, as a practical matter, what would that mean in terms of his cell?
It would mean that he would probably be under 24-hour camera, so they could watch him at all times. They would have a log where they would log every 15 minutes or so what he was doing. It's an area where there's a lot of access by officers who would be walking by and looking in, and it's an area that would be away from other inmates who may taunt him or give him problem.
And how will it differ from the way other inmates are treated here?
Michael Jackson, if he's convicted of child molestation, will not be a popular person just because of that charge, nor is anybody else that is booked here for that charge. But because of who he is and the notoriety and the attention that he will be getting, they will make sure that they keep him separated, keep him well, and keep him well taken care of.
And what if he has medical problems? I mean, if he's had all these medical problems during the trial, and what if you hear a lot of complaints about this and that, and his back and his mental health, etc.?
Well, he'll have an opportunity to complain about it. There's 24-hour nursing care and physicians' own staff. They can and will consult with his own physicians, but the actual medical care, more than likely, unless he's transported to a hospital, will be done by the medical staff that's in the jail facility. They're well trained.
You think the people here are dreading the idea of Michael Jackson living here for some period of time?
Yeah, I think they are.
Why?
I think they would rather it not, because frankly they just want to be able to go about their job without all the attention.
Lose-lose situation, right?
Sure. They would be very happy if you and I weren't here having this interview.
If convicted, this would likely be a temporary home for Jackson, but Sheriff Thomas says he'd be in the company of some dangerous criminals.
So who are generally the other types of inmates who are here?
Gosh, Dan, just about everything, because anybody who goes to a state prison system for the most heinous crime you can think of first spends their time in a jail.
So it could be murder.
There's probably anywhere between 28 and 30 at any given time. So while they're either going through trial or waiting sentencing, they're here until they go to the prison system. And it's becoming more and more violent because the jails are crowded. Mm-hmm. So the less violent inmates are being released so that we can keep the more violent inmates here.
And eventually could end up at the Corcoran prison, which is the state prison here in California, where Charles Manson and Sirhan, others notorious criminals, are housed. Thanks to Jim Thomas for taking us around there. We appreciate it.